Hello from Texas A&M in my dorm room, and welcome to the new 2014 season of the Noah and Corbin Sucks Balls Fantasy League. I've switched locations from my room to my dorm, which is here. That's it. This is my living space. I share it with one other dude, and it's excellent, but rather small. Anyways, moving on to the games for this week. First off, we have Timmy Robinson versus Michael Perez, and Timmy actually managed to get the win against Michael in his first ever game in the league, meaning that he is the only ever all-time undefeated team in the league history. Calvin Johnson scored 28 points for him, but a lot of other players contributed. Greg Olson with 14, Darren Sproles with 14, and Carson Palmer with 20. So despite his second-round pick, Cam Newton, not even playing, he still scored 115 points, which is good for third most in the league. Michael was able to score 80, but of course was not enough for a win. He only really got contributions from his kicker, Jeremy Maclin, and Nick Foles, who only scored 14. And the Eagles looked pretty bad, which is worrying for Foles. He was only able to come back in the second half against the Jaguars, which is pretty terrible. Up next we have Sam's Not a Ram versus Kill Yourself, Ray Rice, Corbin's team. I did pretty badly. I'm very dependent on the Packers this year, and the Packers are going up against the Seahawks, who happen to be very good at playing defense. So from my first two picks, I got 12 points from Lacey and Nelson. Chris Johnson was able to score me 14, Rivers scored me 12, but overall it was truly a terrible week for my team, especially with two of my running backs going out with injuries and only combining for 9 points. Corbin had an average game, but going up against the crap that I put out there, was able to easily secure a 20-point win with decent contributions from Drew Brees, Matt Forte, Marshall Ertz, and the Seahawks D, all scoring him in the double digits. Andre Johnson scored 9, Victor Cruz only scored 2, but of course you're going to have at least one bad player. Up next we have She Wants the Cox versus The Champ. The Champ starts off the season the wrong way, going 0-1, losing the game. LaShawn McCoy scored 11 points, but he only got 74 yards off his 21 carries, and he lost a whole bunch of points to Darren Sproles, which is worrisome because being the second overall pick, you expect to be the main guy, but Sproles got a ton of touches, which of course is going to eat away at McCoy's potential value. Aaron Rodgers only scored 9, but of course, like my team, he was going up against the Seahawks. Rob Gronkowski put up 10, and there wasn't much production from really anyone else. Harvin with 9, and actually Harvin looks really good going forward. He got a bunch of touches, and he looked really good in the touches that he did get. Once he starts scoring touchdowns, he'll be a great contributor to Tyler's team. Noah scored 91 points, mostly through A.J. Green's one huge catch at the end of the half. It was a 70-yard touchdown, netting him 13 of his 19 points on one play. Other than that, Green didn't look very good. Cutler scored 17, Cobb scored 11, and the Eagles scored 14. And his bench actually got some pretty good production with 13 points from Roddy White, 11 from Julian Edelman, and 18 from Andy Dalton. Up next we have Gotta Catch Jamal versus Money Manziel, with Connor beating Cody. And, what is this? Cody put a Jamal Charles Pokemon card as his picture, which is actually pretty hilarious. Anyways, Jamal Charles only scored 2 points, but Stafford scored 29, and Vernon Davis scored 16, which those two on their own took him to a pretty good 81 points, but not enough to beat Money Manziel, even though Manziel scored a hefty 0 points, as Brian Hoyer played an actually really good game, so I don't think there's going to be much production from Manziel going forward. Julius Thomas, however, scored 28. Rashad Jennings surprisingly put up 15 points because of a touchdown and 50 yards receiving. Peyton Manning scored 22. Doug Martin got hurt and played terribly, so he's got that going for him, which I thought Doug would be pretty horrible. I had him last year, and I did not draft him in any of my leagues. I just don't think Doug's going to be very good. CJ Spiller put up 12, T.Y. Hilton 4, but the big contributors are Manning and Thomas. So that one game combined for 50 points for Money Manziel. Overall, I'd say he has a pretty decent team. Not much at running backs and wide receivers, but he's stacked everywhere else, which sounds weird to have a good team without backs and receivers, but he manages to do it. And he's 1-0, first in the Rainbows division. Up next we have Le'Veon Prayer versus the Lynch Mob, with Britton Carter beating Ben Levison. And Britton was able to score 118 points. I think he had the best game out of anyone, even though he technically didn't score as much as Washburn because he had 5 players scoring 17 or more, including 17 from Kaepernick, but 17 from DeMarco, 24 from Bell, 17 from Brown, and 18 from Cordarrelle Patterson, who Britain was really big on Cordarrelle, and no one really believed him. Drafted him late, and it's looking like a steal with 18 points just off of 6 touches. Also, his bench performed really well. Brandon Cooks, Wallace, Hyde, and Floyd all scoring above 10. Britain is a team to watch for sure. Ben's bench as well did pretty well, scoring 91, actually outscoring his starters by a lot, with Marshawn Lynch scoring over a third of his points. That's pretty rough, but I expect Ben to bounce back. He has a pretty good team, with the exception of quarterback, which he started Eli Manning over Andrew Luck, which I don't quite understand, but that's okay. Anyways, I'm sorry guys I didn't quite have time to prepare for this video. Next time I will, but I was busy making power rankings for my other league. Not that I'm cheating on you guys with my other league or anything. Y'all are still the best. Thanks for watching. I appreciate it. And Corbin, you still suck at fantasy football. Thanks for watching.